Okay, for this video I wanted to cover the IRS CP80 tax notice and why a lot of taxpayers are getting these and what you should do if you get one. So why did you receive this notice? And then we'll talk about some measures that you should follow to make sure that this thing goes away. So the CP80 notice has been around for many years, right? So it's been around for many years, but recently we've seen a massive increase because of the delays in processing tax returns for 2019 and 2020. This is obviously related to the COVID-19 epidemic. So typically this notice is issued if you're a taxpayer and you make estimated tax payments, so that's with a form 1040-ES, you make extension payments with your 4868, or you had federal tax withholding come out of your paycheck, which is reported on a W-2. This notice is issued if the IRS sees those dollar amounts being paid, but they have not yet received an actual tax return for that year, okay? Now, the IRS sends out this notice because they want your tax return, right? Ultimately, they want to match up the payments with the return. They want to know how much money you made. And obviously, they want to know what your total liability is so they can either issue you a refund, or if you file your return, it turns out you owe more tax than was paid in, they could send you a notice for a balance due, right? Pay me the difference. So it's important to file your returns if you have these kind of issues for a number of reasons. Well, the first one is if you fail to file your tax return and you have these federal payments, these credits that are available, you actually lose them if you don't file a tax return within the statute of limitations time period. So if we look at an example here, we have John. He makes estimated tax payments in 2020 for $25K, but he never files his 1040. He just says, forget it, I don't think I owe anything more. So the IRS sends out a CP80 notice. John ignores the notice. Now, 6 years later, in 2026, John needs to get caught up on his tax returns for whatever reason. So he hires somebody, he goes to file his 1040, and what he tries to do is on his 1040, he tries to claim a credit for the estimated payment of $25K made during 2020. But the IRS is going to disallow it, all right? And they disallow it because the payment was made in a year that is now beyond the statute of limitations expiration period. And so he effectively loses this money. Now, he has to file a return. He owes taxes on whatever the net liability might be, but he loses credit for the $25K. So he's basically written a check to the IRS for $25,000 and just given it away for free. No benefit whatsoever. So do not find yourself in this position. I see this often, quite frankly, too often. And it's unfortunate because taxpayers, they lose credit for payments they made. You should get credit for it, but the way the statute of limitations works is it goes both ways, right? I mean, if you want to claim the benefits of payments paid, you've got to file within the window. And then if the IRS wants to pursue you and challenge your return, they've got to file an audit appeal within that window too, right? So very, very important to always file every single year. Now here's where 2019 and 2020 get a little tricky. Because of COVID, the IRS had significant delays for both the 2019 and 2020 tax years. A lot of taxpayers filed their 1040, and this includes both electronic filing and paper filing, and the IRS still hasn't processed the return. The latest number I saw in January was about 6 to 7 million returns still on process, which is a lot of returns. And so what was happening was the IRS CPA notice was being generated automatically and being sent to the taxpayer, even though they had filed, right? So they had filed, but the return was in limbo. The IRS hadn't processed it yet, and so their system said, hey, we have to send out this notice because too much time has gone by, even though they actually had the return in their systems and on their desks. So as of January 2022, the IRS has suspended the automatic mailing of these notices. So if for 2019 or 2020 you did file, you're supposed to just wait, right? Don't go ahead and refile because that could just make it worse. The IRS will eventually process your Form 1040 tax filing. However, because of the statute of limitations issue, I would encourage you not to just sit on this, right? We still have to be mindful of the 3-year limit. So for 2019, for example, if they still haven't processed your return, we need to be a little more proactive and contact the IRS, figure out what's going on because they've got to file this and process it in order to make sure you don't lose any kind of credits or any payments that were made during that year. Okay, so very, very important information here. If you get a CP80 notice, you might not be alone. Again, there's 6 million other returns out there for those tax years that haven't been filed and processed. So don't ignore the notice. Talk to your tax advisor. Come up with a strategy to try to solve this issue, and hopefully you'll be all set going forward, and the IRS can get caught up on all these filings. All right, so that covers it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thank you.